One of the things I love about the Alpha Course is the unexpected and sort of serendipitous friendships that develop in Alpha. And I certainly wouldn't have seen that one. A young man, probably in his late 20s at the time, certainly culturally different from a 78-year-old World War II veteran. My dad had just started into university when World War II broke out. And so my dad enlisted in the Air Force. One particular day in the March of 1942, they were on a bombing mission down along the Atlantic coast of France. Their plane was shot down. Several of his crew members didn't make it out of the plane. And so he served 28 months as a prisoner of war. Eventually, he was released and came back to the United States on the deck of the Queen Mary. I think when the war was over and he came back to the States, my sense was he just wanted to leave all that behind. I have had the joy of being a trainer and a teacher of the Alpha Course for 20 years. My father called me one day and said, "Hey Jeff, when's your next Alpha Course start?" I said, "You know, Dad, you don't need to come to Alpha to show your support of me. I know you're for me." To which he said, I can remember it like it was yesterday. He said, "I'm not coming for you, I'm coming for me." And I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm about to face the final exam. I need to be sure I've got all this stuff right." So the first night of Alpha came around and we had the meal and we had the talk, and I was just really anxious to see where my dad was going to end up in his small group. And off went my father. Following his small group leader was a young man by the name of Todd. He was the opposite of my dad culturally. Part of his head was kind of shaven the way I remember it. I think part of his hair was dyed orange. He had a number of earrings down one side. He wore boots that reminded me of World War II Army boots. That was going to be my dad's leader. And my first thought was, oh no, this is going to be a disaster. But it wasn't. The second week of Alpha, there was my dad. The third week of Alpha, there he was. And so about that time, I called him one day and I said, "Hey, Dad, how are you getting along with Alpha?" He said, "Oh, I really love it." I said, "Really? What do you like about it?" And I was thinking he was going to say, "Well, Jeff, your brilliant talks." But that wasn't the case. He said, "Yeah, the talks are okay, but what I really love is my small group, especially our group leader, Todd." And I never would have guessed in a million years, but they would have developed the friendship that they did. It was just amazing. Long after Alpha, they continued to get together for shared meals and friendship. A few years later, my dad's health began to give way, and in 2002, my dad passed away. And one of the unexpected things was a beautiful note that I received in the mail. "Dear Jeff, I was sorry to hear about the loss of your father. Thank you so much for sharing your dad with me. I didn't have a father that I could speak to, at least in the way that I could speak to your father, Chuck. He was a man of quiet strength and deep faith, and I will surely miss him. Sincerely, Todd."